This is the new Model Y, and politics aside, this is an amazing value vehicle, especially if you qualify for a $7,500 off tax EV incentives, as you'll receive upon instant credit when it comes to purchasing your vehicle. And now that the launch series Model Y is over with the Juniper new redesigned body, aside from the color, this is the basic option and it has practically everything you will ever need for the all-wheel drive long range. But you could get it for just under $42,000. So although this may trigger simple-minded folks on calling this something that it's not, you'll discover that this car offers a lot of value for daily commutes. So let's go in depth and see all the new changes and all the cool features that the latest generation Model Y has to offer. And of course, timestamp to everything will be in the description down below for your pleasure. Let's get started. So let's go ahead and talk about the front end. The new light bar update. Yeah, this car quacks too. Name another car that could quack when you lock it. You could program this to do other stuff. This owner decided to quack instead of the traditional honk. So that's another cool thing about this car that's quirky, which is cool. Nobody will know that your car is locked. But back to the front end here. It's totally redesigned. This light bar actually grew on me. At first, I originally hated it when I saw those pictures. But after seeing this in person, the light bar definitely does look good. Originally, I was going to see if removing this or just disconnecting it and just having it off entirely will give this car an aggressive appeal, but it looks good in person. I'm actually quite surprised. Other things about the light bar is the fact that the turn signal is actually integrated right here, and that can actually illuminate white sometimes when it's turned off, making the light bar more visible in a bright sunny day. In addition to that, in the rear we do have amber turn signals too, which are, I want to say, much brighter than previous generation Teslas. This also turns red whenever you hit the brakes. But in the front, we do have a front camera, as many people have been covering, with washer jets. But a thing I noticed is the front bumper is modular, which not only helps out with insurance costs, repairability and such, but a common part that a lot of people always scrape is this lower lip. And I'm glad to inform you it's modular, so if this does get damaged, it's an easy replacement. You do not have to get it color matched with the bumper. And your headlights are actually located here. Pros and cons to this. If you live in a snowing place and you're plowing through, this will block your headlights, unfortunately. But the light bar is pretty bright, as you'll see. But this does feature the Matrix adapted headlights, which is something that's not available in the States, but it is available in Europe. But this is the first car I could think of here in the States that has these Matrix auto-adapted high beams, where pedestrians, cyclists, as well as vehicles will not be blinded when you have auto high beams enabled. Another cool thing you may have noticed, there is no sonar sensors on this car. My 2025 BMW X5 still has sonar sensors to this very day. I'm actually very surprised there is no sonar sensors throughout the entire vehicle, and it's solely running independently thanks to the hardware for the full self-driving and autopilot features that it has. This technology is pretty advanced to the point where even though it has a front-facing camera, this does not have full 360 camera, but with the Apple Vision, not Apple Vision, I meant to say Tesla Vision, it does an excellent job in like marking all the lines and such. So when you're parking, you could actually somewhat experience a full 360 view while still having full high resolution cameras showing you if you're parking well or coming close to an object as you're parallel parking and such. This works surprisingly really well. Additionally, you'll find air vents over here, which allows this vehicle to be slightly more air efficient than previous generation Model Ys, as this vehicle is equipped with the most aerodynamic wheels possible from Tesla. These are standard, these are free, these are the new redesigned cross-flow wheels, which is set to give this car a range up to 327 miles under a single charge. Now, for my personal experience, I have seen close to 300 miles under a single charge with this car, with the AC on and everything else going, keep me comfortable for those long commutes. 300 miles seems to be the ideal number. 330, 327 seems to be kind of hard, but I'm sure it's possible. I drive with a lead foot, so I'm not going to be that efficient. Now, talking about the overall weight of this car. You may think that this weighs the same as a semi. Believe it or not, some people actually believe that. This actually weighs 4,300 pounds. And another vehicle that weighs the same, gas powered, is the Porsche Macan, last year model. The new EV also weighs around the same, 4,300 pounds. So this is basically the average weight on all these modern day size SUVs nowadays. So weight wise, it's pretty impressive, of course. All the weights on the bottom. So very similar to like those punching bags that always go up once they go down. The Tesla is unlikely to roll over during a car accident. And then since we're speaking about the battery pack is actually a 75 kilowatt hour battery capacity, which in today's day and age, that's pretty impressive for a vehicle that could come close to or be able to deliver 300-mile range under a single charge, when in most of its competitors, it's typically using larger size batteries like 100 kilowatts. So to charge this at home for me, it's 30 cents per kilowatt. So if we do the math, multiply by 75, this cost me about $22 just to drive 300 miles. So that's a good amount of gas saving right there, especially if you live in California where regular fuel is just $5 a gallon. And when it comes to fast charging, this can achieve a peak charge of 250 kilowatts for like 5 minutes or a minute or so. And then it starts going down. But it'll typically hover around 180, I notice. So if you're with a low enough charge, like 10%, and you plug into a Tesla Supercharge network, in theory, it should take about 15 minutes for this vehicle to receive 169 miles more range. Nice. Now, since this is made to be more of a daily driver, when it comes to ground clearance, Tesla lists this on their website to have a ground clearance of 6.6 inches, which is tall enough to like clear those like cement blocks if in case you park over it without ripping your bumper apart. Here we are. So yeah, we are just barely over 6 inches, I guess. All thanks to that plastic thing, which kind of curves downwards, you can kind of see. And then it is fixed, so if I still would be cautious when it comes to forward parking. But when it comes to rear parking, which is how the Kings do it, I'm sure you have a lot more clearance to clear those parking blocks without ripping your bumper. Yeah, we have about 11 inches of clearance. No, 10 and a half actually. Yeah, about 10 and a half of clearance. Let me get this closer. There we go. Okay, maybe just over 9 inches, I mean. Now, I have spoken to somebody who was involved with this redesign of the Unifer. And the mirrors, a lot of people just call these covers or mirror covers or whatever. These are actually called skull caps. And the reason why this new design is there now is to reduce wind noise when you're driving, as well as improve efficiency. And as you're going to find out pretty soon, is the interior cabin is super quiet compared to previous generations. But on the side here, you still have the traditional side profile like the previous generation Model Y. Now, I'm not going to pull this off, but this can come off. But it does look like we have a large piston caliper right there for the fronts. And in the rear, looks like we have standard caliper brakes right there, as you can see. And the tires that comes equipped with out of the box, or out of the showroom I should say, is Pro Contact RX, Continentals. And these are 255 width, it looks like, on a 19-inch wheels for both the front and rear, so you can rotate your tires. Moving into the back, this is where we see the all-new light bar back here as well. Now this thing looks gorgeous in person, especially at night, as it does reflect on the bottom, and some people may say it looks like a Tesla T while it's driving. And I've also seen people remove the Tesla badge in here and like put like a decal here with like unique designs. So it's definitely a nice blank canvas. But back here, you'll also notice that pieces are actually divided this time, modular, because from my understanding, this entire piece was the previous generation Model Ys, which meant if this was damaged, you had to replace the whole thing, which can be very costly. Means it should be cheaper to insure than previous generation models. Now the rear diffuser does go out a bit more, which acts as protection in case you get rear-ended or slightly tapped while parallel parking. So that's something to keep in mind. And over here is your reflector, and these lights down here are actually your reverse light. They're now no longer attached to your tail lights. In addition to that, if we open up the back, notice how they blink amber, letting other people know that your tailgate is open. Well, they're blinking like that because my hazards are on, so it transitions from those to down here. Because now if I turn them off, they actually turn into red. So if you're parked on the side of the road, people can see you even with your tailgate lifted open. That's pretty nice. It's a nice safety feature. And another thing about this rear diffuser is the fact that the holes are actually pre-made for European as well as the US plate size. And I'm not sure about these smaller ones, but it's the same part that's used around the world, which is quite interesting. And this vehicle does not have the tow hitch, but it does have the tow hitch cover, so it makes fitting an aftermarket one easier. But back here, you'll notice that a cargo cover is now included in standard. It's just really weird to fold, but it folds out like so. And it's magnetic, so you can pull this out if you don't need it. And if you need to store it away, there's actually space right here to tuck it in, which you'll see this car has a lot of cargo space. This cover goes in very deep. And you also have side pockets over here to also store additional stuff as well. And then if we lift this up, and if we take this out real quick, you'll see that there's additional storage in here as well, where you could put like a first aid kit or something. Unfortunately, no spare tire. Additionally, a premium feature I wasn't expecting to find on the Model Y is something that my luxury car doesn't have, my X5, BMW X5, is automatic fold seats. And these seats, if that seat's in the way, will actually move out of the way, as you see right there, so it clears the headrest and giving you a very flat profile. If you need it to be flatter, if you go on this side, open up the drawer over here, and you press this button again, it'll fold it down a little bit more to give you a more flat profile, but that's basically the most it'll go. But closing that aside, comparing it against my 2025 BMW X5, this has the same cargo space, and that car is valued twice as expensive as this thing. With all the seats folded down, this car has 76 cubic feet of space. That's a lot of space for a vehicle of this size. And with that second row up, you have about 30 cubic feet back here, which is, I discovered to be more than enough for Costco hauls and such. And then this tailgate can be programmed now to like different locations. So if we're in my garage as an example, I like to program the tailgate to be right here. I just leave it and then just long hold on this button out here straight from the car, and that'll be the dedicated height for my trunk whenever I open up indoors in this location. But when I open it everywhere else, it will automatically go up to the full extended height. So you could program the height now via location. So when you're at Costco, you don't bump your head on these angles, but when you're at home, it clears it so it doesn't bump your ceiling. I think that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and close this. And you also will see back here, this is where the camera is for your back, as well as the button to open up the hatch. Now, we all seen this video go viral from Mark, an ex-NASA engineer, showing a Tesla failing to detect a Looney Tune painting off the road, allowing the Tesla to plow through it. Well, many individuals with the latest generation hardware for Teslas recreated this test and proven that it performs so much better than hardware 3. It's able to now detect these things. So this is now a thing of the past, all thanks to hardware 4, of course, as it's been proven to detect a fake wall as well as make last minute decisions if there's a kid behind like a wall of water. And don't feel left out if you have the older hardware 3, as Tesla will be able to upgrade hardware 3 to hardware 4 thanks to a retrofit. So long as your current vehicle was purchased with FSD, your vehicle is eligible for this upgrade. But from my personal experience, don't trust full self-driving, as I had to take control of the vehicle because it almost drove through these cones, it looks like. So I had to violently grab the steering wheel. So it definitely is a supervised full self. So just a little quick PDA right there. Don't trust the car for full self-driving, but from my experience, it works extremely well. But there's times where if the road does become tricky, always be ready to take over. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure most human drivers will still fall for the Looney Tune style painting on the road. So it's not perfect like anything else in this world. Even humans are not perfect. But something that I was impressed while looking at this vehicle is the quarter panel gaps. They're perfect. I don't see any quarter panel gaps whatsoever anymore. It's pretty impressive. I'm confident to say that Tesla did improve their quality control when it comes to their production lines, as all these are nice, evenly spaced out. There's no noticeable gaps, including the interior, like my Model S used to be. So that's very impressive, to the point where I'm now criticizing every brand for quarter panel gaps, as my BMW X5 has a very off-align rear tail lights. They're not even lined up. So the alignment on the new Model Ys has been significantly improved to the point where I don't see any issues whatsoever. I spoke too soon about the quality control. Upon installing mud flaps, I noticed is missing connectors. Now, even though I am installing connectors, so I had to take these older ones off, and then I have spares now because this kit came with new ones. I could technically fill those up, but upon further inspection, everything is misaligned. So somebody from the assembly just had a hard time installing this, and they were like, ah, screw it, just let it pass. Hopefully nobody knows. Well, this owner has noticed, so yeah. But luckily for us, the front ones are intact, but this second piece is all misaligned. And then the car key to this car could be your phone or your Apple Watch now. So you don't have to carry that credit card, Tesla key, or the old school Tesla key toy, as you can pair multiple keys onto this car now with your just simply using your electronics. But moving in the back here, you'll see since we do have the black interior, this is Alcantara. The light bar actually continues in the back, the little LED strip right here. And now we finally have, let me lower the audio real quick before I get copyrighted. We finally have a touchscreen in the back for your rear passengers. And this allows you to control the climate back here, all touchscreen, of course. And you can move the seats. Or you can select the fixed positions right here. It even shows you the temperature, the time. And if you select the seats, if this seat's in the way and you have a passenger back here, you can move them up front. That's not something I was expecting to find in an economy car. In addition to that, I can also tap here if I want this seat to be folded down. Without having to reach over there to physically push that button, and I can fold it back up. The back passenger seats are only heated, so you could touch them to turn on the heat pads below them. The butt warmers. It's only on the bottom though. And I can also move the seats up for my passenger if I need to. Next to that is the media, where you could actually connect the media, control the media that's playing on the front from the screen. And if the driver wants to, they can also lock the screen for the rear from the front driver's side. So if you have kids just taking advantage of this, you can lock them out. Here, your passengers can actually watch YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Twitch, and connect it with a pair of Bluetooth speakers, because on the Bluetooth setting over here, you'll see you can add a Bluetooth device, and this includes over your headphones, AirPods, and etc. And then this little joystick allows you to play arcade games back here for your rear passengers, and there's quite a bit of games to choose from. Again, luxury stuff I wasn't expecting to find on this car. And then down here you do have two USB-C ports. It may not look like it, it's probably hard to see in camera, but there is two USB-C ports. Cubbies for your storage for your rear passengers are available. The center armrest does go down, which will reveal two cup holders. And I have my seating position fixed to the position that I last left it while I was driving. And as you can see, I have a lot of headspace, and I'm 5'8", but I already sat somebody who was like 5'10" back here. They had plenty of headspace. If you're 6 foot, you still should have a good amount of headspace up here. Now this vehicle does have the glass roof covered, and I think that's the best method of doing so, because even though Tesla advertised this to have like a new coating that prevents the interior cabinet from getting really hot, I would still advise investing in one of these. I'll have a link in the description down below in case you're curious. It's inexpensive and definitely does help out a lot when it comes to heat. And you can just pull it off if you just don't want it, if you just want the glass roof. But honestly, that should have been something from factory. And then of course you have more additional cup holders right here, as well as storage. Now here's the Tesla app on this app, and if you long hold on one of these icons, you could customize it to do all these other stuff. And yes, you can make the car fart if you want. So yeah, I literally just made the car fart. I could activate bioweapon defense mode. I could flash the headlights, open the frunk, which I forgot to do. Here it is. Here's the frunk. I kind of forgot to cover this earlier. Same storage space from the previous generation, it looks like. The only thing I noticed is they moved the windshield wiper fluid up in the front. But right here, you do have practical usable space. Here's my arm right here. It fits fully in there. Your tow hook is also, recovery hook is located here as well. And this is actually a drain plug, because you can actually fill this up with ice. And then once it melts, unplug it, it will just go all down there. So you can use this as a portable cooler, very similar to like the Mach-E. And there's also a nice gasket around here, which prevents anything from leaking out or leaking in. And also helps out a lot when it comes to keeping to-go orders, food smells away from the vehicle. You can just store it in here. It just sucks it's not automatic. You need to manually lift, but this is a very practical frunk. But let's go ahead and move into the driver's side now, shall we? So here's the interior of this car. Super nice, minimum. Some may argue this is a luxury car. Personally, I don't consider this a luxury car. I consider this more like an economy car, because it's basically the less is more feel inside its interior. I personally do not mind, because it's super easy to keep clean. And it's just a good looking dash all around. The steering wheel has been updated and it features a flat bottom as well. Your headlight control are actually located here. Wiper, your on-demand 360 camera, you can simply press right there and it'll pop up right here. So right now this is our front camera, and if you slide it up, it will reveal your rear camera. It'll automatically shift automatically. On top, it will show you if it's overcast, as well as the current temperature, as well as vehicle information, as well as control if you need to unlock the car from here. But this car is so advanced that you can just simply put your seatbelt on, press on the brakes, it will automatically select drive or reverse based off what the vehicle sees and what's behind it. So if there's a wall behind it, obviously you want to go forward instead of back up into the wall. And to activate this, you just go into settings, tap on dynamic, and go down till you find auto shift and just enable that. As if you read the description, it says for parking as well as multiple point turns based on the surrounding, your vehicle will assist you with shifting between drive or reverse, and it works really well from my experience. Additionally, the con with this minimalistic look is there's less buttons, but this button can be programmed to do other things. So if I long hold right now, it will actually allow me to adjust the screen brightness right here on demand. But you can also reprogram this to like automatically fill down your mirrors. To find this, simply go into display and go all the way down and look for the scroll wheel function. Tap on here, it will bring you a drop down menu, and then you can select it. So if you wanted to adjust the fan speed, temperature, folding your mirrors, acceleration mode, camera, defrost, dome light, or open your glove box from here. So now I just changed it to fold mirrors. If I long hold, it'll automatically fold in my mirrors without me having to go into these multiple screen settings just to have access to that. So that's kind of cool. Additional stuff in this car, you have wireless chargers that actually do a good job charging your phone. Even with a bulky case, this case was this massive camera hump, it's actually able to efficiently charge my phone without causing it to overheat, I've noticed. And then down here you have a lot of additional cargo space. You could purchase one of these little cubbies to give yourself a little bit of organization. This is pretty deep that I'm able to fit like a very large water bottle in there. And then for your cup holders, it's just down here, which are nicely sized too. Up here you have additional storage too. You have these little storage compartment that Tesla gives you, as well as one USB-C port back here. And then if you want to give yourself additional storage, maybe like a hidden compartment, there's accessory brands like this one from Spigen. I'll have this link in the description down below, which gives you access to like an additional organizer, so you could put your vehicle registration and stuff in here instead. I think it's kind of cool. But however, there is no instrument cluster here, unfortunately, but you still maintain that almost no air vent design, which is all controlled right here. You could adjust the position just by simply moving your hand. If your passenger doesn't want theirs on, you could just long hold and it'll turn off on their side, but yours is still on. It also features this new wave mode too, which is very similar to like a moving fan. It would just move slowly to give you a nice like rotisserie effect. You do have 2 levels of a heated steering wheel, or you can select auto. Your windshield wipers can heat up to defrost like any frozen ice. It does have that ability. And your bioweapon defense mode is located right here. And you can also select rear to control your passenger side too from here. And if you like to have a dog inside your car, you can select dog mode, and when you exit the car, the little dog display will pop up. You could keep or camp in case you're about to go sleep in your car, late night shift. By selecting camp mode, the AC will run even when the vehicle is turned off. Now the screen, you may have noticed, it's thinner than the previous generation Model 3s and the Ys, as the bezels are actually slightly thinner than previous generation. But if you don't want the AC on, you can just long hold and it'll turn off completely. In terms of apps, there's a lot of app support. You can use everything from YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Apple Music, their karaoke, basically karaoke, you can enable that here. Your energy efficiency, you can monitor it all right here. And if you're parked, supercharging or something like that, you can always open up Tesla Theater, which will give you access to YouTube, Netflix, as well as Hulu and Twitch. And I think TikTok too. And this software, this hardware that's using, it's extremely snappy. There's no latency whatsoever. It's nice. It's a good looking high resolution screen. And then to have access to your glove box, unfortunately you do have to go into vehicle settings on controls, and it'll reveal this glove box, which is pretty small. You're probably able to fit like an iPad back here. And down here there is a little light that does illuminate on all your storage compartments, including the backside for your rear seats, passengers. But if we go in lighting, you do have a full RGB wheel right here, so select between many different colors to change this RGB light to your personal preference. And you can also adjust the brightness too, or you can allow it so it only turns on at night. But the massive drawback to this is it takes a while to get used to. It's like using an iPad basically. Because we're trying to set up your mirrors or adjust your steering wheel, you still have to go into the vehicle settings and go in controls and select steering wheel to adjust the steering wheel if you want to raise it up or down, or your mirrors. But the benefit to this is due to the fact that you can program a bunch of the different profiles on this vehicle. So once you set it, you basically just need to set it once and it's saved permanently, including like your seating position too. So as soon as you adjust your seat, you could hit save and it'll save your profile. So even though there's steering wheel adjustment and everything else is located in settings, we often just do it once or twice, and that's basically it. Once you do that, it's saved to your profile, and if you have a different driver, you can just select your profile and automatically adjust automatically. And you can link it to your device too. So right now it's suggesting if I wanted to link it to my Android phone, I could hit link or cancel, and it will automatically adjust to their seats. And if you like to switch to your profile, you just select your profile. And from my experience, it's just me and my spouse driving this. It's really accurate, more accurate than previous generation Teslas. I remember those times where my spouse would get in, but I'm driving, it'll select her profile and I had to manually select the profile. Now that's been resolved to the point where it's really reliable and you no longer have to manually select your profile. So I actually like that. That's a massive improvement I noticed from a previous generation Teslas. And then another thing to mention about this Tesla is the sound system. Sounds absolutely amazing. This sound system is available for both the dual motor as well as the launch edition. I'm pretty sure even the performance should also have the same sound setup, which is a 17 speaker setup, including one subwoofer, so 16 speakers and one sub. And the audio quality sounds fantastic. Sounds a lot better than my BMW X5. I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but to me that was a luxury car. And it's crazy to believe that a vehicle of this price is outperforming my luxury vehicle. You have to get in this thing and try the EQ settings that this car has to offer, as it's able to deliver a really good sound system for any vehicle. And to have access to your windshield wiper jets for your camera, you just tap on this little washer icon right here and it'll spray water. So just tap here. It just washed our front camera like you just witnessed. Not the rear, unfortunately. Only the front can get washed. And if you like to change the horn of your car, you just go in here and go in the toolbox right here and select boombox. And where it says lock sound, enable it. And then here's the different sounds it could create. So you got applause, quack, chirp, and so much more. You can also include like a custom one from your USB drive. And if you like to talk to somebody outside, you could just activate megaphone and you can speak to them while you're in your car. You can also replace your horn sound too if you want, which by the way, the horn actually is located in the front right here, as it should be. Yeah, there's so much stuff that this car can do. It's just ridiculous. It has to be an all dedicated video for me to go in depth on everything else that that computer can do. Because as we know, Teslas are basically security cameras on wheels. If we select live camera and we activate it, a little Sentry mode icon will pop up on the screen right there, telling us that the vehicle is indeed recording. And from here you can see 4 angles, but you can select individual angles, and you have up to 6 cameras now thanks to hardware 4 to select from. So you can capture anything that happened, even if the vehicle is driving or parked. And it all can be transmitted wirelessly to your phone, so you can download the clip without being in the vehicle. You can also flash the headlights, honk the horn, cause it to fart, as well as speak to the person with the speaker icon, and you can just talk to them like so. And it disguises your voice too, like Megatron. It's kind of crazy. And you can also monitor the interior of the car as well in case you have your dog in there in dog mode. So with that said, let's go ahead and take this car out for a drive. Alright, driving the all-new Tesla Model Y. Codename Juniper, I guess. You know, that's not the official name. Now, something I did forget to mention is the fact that, again, this car is impressive when it comes to its features. Because I failed to mention that, yes, we do have heated seats, but we also have ventilated seats as well. So that's like a luxury feature I wasn't expecting to find in this car. Because the previous generation Model Ys, it was only heated seats, and that was it. This car, we have full ventilated seats right here. Both cool and heat or auto. Additionally, at first, again, it took me a while. I haven't owned a Model Y since like 2021. That was the last time I had one. And I got used to this speedometer being on the center right here. At first I hated it, but again, this is why I describe it more like a modern day Prius, because the Prius also had the speedometer in the center. Usually economy cars are usually in the center for economy purposes. This brings down the cost of the vehicle. If there's a display over here, sure, it'll bring up the cost, but not by a whole lot, I think. But let's go ahead and do the acceleration right now. There's no one behind me. We are back roads, so the speed limit is 55, but it's okay to go over 50. 5 over, I mean. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh god, G-forces are real. And 60. Yeah. Even though this is not the performance version, this still gets up and go. It was confident driving too. And then, of course, with the newer Model Y's main focus was ride quality. And I gotta say, it's really comfortable. It's super smooth on like bumpy roads that we're driving right now. Even with these like almost low profile tires, the wheels we have are 19s. So we have more tire cushion, which also I'm sure helps a lot in the road quality, comfort quality and such. But this is pretty comfortable and quiet too. I don't even have to yell. Again, comparing it against my previous generation Model Y I once had, I noticed the interior is definitely a lot more quieter than previous, and it handles extremely well too. Again, all thanks to the fact that center of gravity is all in the middle. It helps balance everything out. And an acceleration that does not get old. And the cool thing is, it happens no matter the speed you're in. So they're not waiting for the transmission to downshift, so I can just like on demand and just continues going. Top speed is lower than the previous generation Model Ys. Top speed is like a truck now, 125 miles per hour. But in day-to-day use, I mean, that's more than enough. Just 100 miles alone is more than enough. But now let's go ahead and test out the autopilot system. Take me to Studio Grills. And after I do that, voice command, I already set the directions. I can also tell voice commands to do certain things like open up the trunk or enable full self-driving or something like that. It's pretty smart. So as we're turning, I could just tap on the autopilot, and then we are in autopilot now. It's just like that. The car is driving by itself, following the speed limit. There's 3 different modes. There's chill, which is very slow. It'll go under the speed limit sometimes. There's standard, which is still, I consider it to be slow. It'll still go under the speed limit. And there's hurry, which will cause the vehicle to quickly change lanes, get in situations faster, and get out of those situations faster, and is unlikely to irritate drivers, except for stop signs. Because as soon as we come to a complete stop, it actually takes like 3 seconds, which is what's in the rule book to wait when you're at an intersection at a 4-way stop sign. So it will take a little bit longer to proceed, just a heads up. At that point, I usually just take control of the car and then enable autopilot once more. So yeah, this is the car driving by itself right now. And notice I no longer have to put my hands on the wheel, squeeze anything, like squeeze the steering wheel or anything like that. It uses this camera right here and it tracks my head movements using AI, I'm assuming, and it'll make the decision if I'm paying attention or not. If I'm not paying attention, the vehicle will indicate it right here on the screen. If I'm looking down or looking at this screen for too long, it'll pulse at me. If I don't take control, it'll ban me from using full self-driving for a day or 2, depending on how many strikes I get. And I strongly support it. Again, I almost saw it hit some cones, but from my experience, full self-driving for situations like this, clear roads, clear highways, even in heavy traffic, it's pretty reliable. It's a lot better than some of the drivers I've been in when I'm using Uber or Lyft. So it's better than a taxi. And right here, it put its turn signal on. It's automatically lane changing. I may be quiet, so here's a little time lapse on how it's like for me just to rely on autopilot. And we are here, and yeah, I gotta say, it did a good job. I'm gonna take over because it takes forever to park. That's one massive downside to full self-driving. Again, this system is not perfect. I wouldn't solely rely on it, but I did not touch the steering wheel once. I was about to a few times. Reason being because I didn't like the decisions it made. But there we have it. That is everything there is to know about this latest generation Tesla Model Y. And let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this car? Are you picking one up? If you are, if you like to save some money and get 3 months of full self-driving for free, I'll be sure to include my referral code in the description down below so you can try out full self-driving and decide if it's worth it or not. It's not really worth buying out of pocket. I think the subscription is a better value because $8,000 is a bit too much, especially since it doesn't really hold resale value if the vehicle is equipped or not equipped with it, at least that I've seen on the used side market. But don't get me wrong, full self-driving is absolutely amazing. Definitely does make it easier, especially when you're traveling in unknown roads. Anyways, hopefully you found this video helpful and useful. If you did, thumbs up will definitely be appreciated, and get subscribed for more content just like this. If you'd like to watch more car videos, there's this video over there where I review my old Model Y, and the video down there is a video that YouTube is recommending specifically for you. Thank you so much for watching.